Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Hopefully, we all had a wonderful Memorial Day. And I know going back to work today might not be the most fun thing, but that's part of life. Sometimes can't take a break for too long, and getting back into the routine of things, although a little rough, is definitely good to do. So, we do have a little bit to talk about today. Not anything too crazy going on here east of the Mississippi. So that is definitely some good news. It's good to have a little bit of a break, but we definitely do have some kind of pieces of energy moving on through that will cause some interesting weather. But I do see maybe more of a widespread unsettled pattern moving in about a week or so out. But from now till then, things should stay relatively calm now that we've gotten through kind of this low pressure that's just been meandering off the southeast here for a while. So that is definitely some good news. With all that said, I'm not really sure there's too much else to talk about. There are a couple of planning things for the channel I did want to mention real quick. So I do understand that this time of the year might not be the most exciting time to watch a video on the weather, just because we're kind of stuck in between severe weather season and hurricane season, so this is definitely one of the slower times of the year. So I do want to try to make some videos that are maybe not quite as weather related, and one of my big goals of this channel was to make it kind of an environment where we all kind of get to know each other a little bit. So I might try to add some videos that are a little bit more about my day-to-day life. So I might do a little bit of vlogging or some other things I'll kind of sprinkle in there over the next couple of months, especially since it's summertime and I'm home and I've just got a lot more free time on my hands than if it were in the middle of the semester. So that's just something to kind of keep your eyes out for. Not saying that anything like that's going to happen this week, but definitely as we go through the summer, try to throw in a couple of, a little bit more things kind of just about me and my life. Might even do a Q&A video. I know I don't have that many people that will probably ask questions, but I think that'd be kind of fun to do, and great kind of way to get to know me a little bit better, because I definitely think that makes the videos just a little bit more enjoyable to watch if you feel like you know me a little bit more than just the guy in front of the screen telling you what the weather's going to be. So with that said, I guess we can go ahead and actually get into the forecast, and I'll stop rambling on about myself. But we'll start here with radar. Actually, no, we're going to go back and start with satellite. I've actually changed the order of things, where I used to have the YouTube channel as the front thing, and I've changed it now to satellite, and I forget that. So let's actually talk about the satellite that's going on behind me while I'm talking. So a couple key things to note here. One, we still have this low pressure kind of off the east coast of North Carolina, continuing to funnel in some Atlantic moisture, and that is also allowing some showers to kind of bubble up this afternoon across the Carolinas. So definitely we'll be dodging a couple of rain showers here into the mid-Atlantic today. Again, not a washout for anybody, but definitely some showers meandering on out there, and some cloud cover as well. The other kind of thing to note is this big area of convection here in the Gulf of Mexico. This is what is going to bring a lot of rain to the Florida Peninsula over the next couple of days. Now, the good news is it should just stay to the Florida Peninsula. A couple days ago, the models thought about bringing this thing back up into the Carolinas, much like we had last week, and luckily that idea has kind of faded off, and this looks to really just move through Florida and then go out to sea a bit. So that is some good news. And talking a little bit more about these showers here into the mid-Atlantic, again, you can see we do have some showers really from Richmond down towards Asheville and back towards the Charlotte metro, and these will continue to kind of slide off to the southwest throughout the day as this kind of flow from the Atlantic continues in that general direction. So we'll definitely be watching that. Other than that, we're pretty dry here east of the Mississippi. We will have some severe weather over the next couple of days out here into the plains, which I'm really just not going to touch on that much, because not many of my followers have expressed that they're from this part of the country. I know we do have a couple out here into Texas, but it's really kind of just an average Maytime pattern for you folks. This isn't anything new to see these afternoon storms develop, and I will discuss it a little bit, but I'm not going to spend too much time on that, just because, again, mainly most of my viewers here are east of the Mississippi. But I will talk about it a little bit here as we look at the next 48 hours or so. So, speaking of that, some things to note here. Definitely, you'll watch these showers here this afternoon into the Carolinas, and even tomorrow afternoon, a couple more bubble up. You'll also notice stronger storms back out here to the plains as we have a trough kind of moving through, helping to allow these storms to convect and really grow in size and intensity during the afternoon hours of the next couple of days. So we'll move this ahead, and again, this is this evening going into the overnight. Notice this big area of convection out here towards Kansas and Nebraska, and even down here towards the Texas Panhandle as well. Again, all hazards on the table, from hail, strong winds, and even a couple tornadoes possible with those. Now, as we get into tomorrow afternoon, Move this into about 3, 4 o'clock. Again, scattered storms and mainly showers possible anywhere here in the east, kind of south of the Ohio River. But the bigger story will be this area of disorganized thunderstorms and low pressure really getting its act together over the Florida Peninsula tomorrow. So this is that low pressure we've been talking about. We just looked at on satellite that will finally begin to move inland tomorrow and bring that unsettled weather with it. Also, again, tomorrow afternoon, another day of just a whole big area of these thunderstorms coming off of the Rockies and into the plains. And, of course, all hazards on the table with those as well. Then as we get into early Thursday morning, as far out as this model goes, again, a lot of disorganized thunderstorms and showers over the Florida Peninsula as that low pressure continues to hang around a little bit, but relatively dry other than that here into much of the northeast mid-Atlantic and the Ohio River Valley. And then, of course, still dealing with some of those leftover storms in the morning hours of Thursday. So moral of the story here is can't rule out some afternoon showers for just about anybody outside of the Northeast. Definitely a lot of afternoon and evening thunderstorms over the Florida Peninsula as this low pressure moves on through. And I really shouldn't say afternoon thunderstorms, really just on and off showers and storms throughout the day and night over the Florida Peninsula, really starting this evening going into tomorrow. And then, of course, big time severe storms this afternoon as well as tomorrow afternoon out towards the Great Plains. So quickly touching on tomorrow's high temperature, we'll have a bit of a cooler area here into the mid-Atlantic just because of, I think, a little bit more widespread shower activity during the afternoon, as well as still dealing with some flow kind of out of the north a little bit, helping to cool things down. Now, out here in the Great Plains, where we have this massive ridge, really warm temperatures getting up near 90 for many of us, so this is really getting into summertime weather out towards this part of the country. All right, so moving this ahead, looking at the next week or so, again, you'll notice this low pressure kind of working over Florida here going into Thursday afternoon. We just looked at that. Again, dealing with widespread showers and storms over the Florida Peninsula once we get into Thursday. And again, can't rule out some afternoon showers outside of there. And of course, some stronger storms during the afternoon hours on Thursday into the Great Plains. As we move this into Friday afternoon, again, kind of just scattered showers through really just anywhere outside of the Northeast is possible. And that kind of general pattern will continue into this weekend, although I think drying out a little bit as we get into this weekend compared to kind of the next couple of days. So Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon looks quite dry here into the mid-Atlantic and the Ohio River Valley, kind of in this general area I have circled. Again, can't rule out an afternoon shower or storm, but not a washout weekend by any means, which will be a nice change of pace from this past weekend for many of us. Now, I think the next big real story maker will come sometime into the middle of next week. You'll notice we'll get some low pressure to develop here, and we'll get a big time cold front to sweep down with that low pressure. So could get a bit of a pattern change, I think, going into about this time next week, maybe a little bit later than that. And that could sweep on through a lot of us and help to bring us back down to some lower dew points and maybe some drier conditions as well. Looking at the dew points here, again, you'll notice really the worst of the dew points are going to be out here where this kind of ridge is flexing its muscles over the central part of the country. And that's why we have a lot of that severe weather going on out in that part of the country as well. Now, east of there, not unbearable dew points by any means, but definitely climbing as the week goes on up into the 60s. But once we get into this weekend, this is whenever we're going to kind of get some influences of a cold front. One, a bit of a backdoor cold front to move in here into the mid-Atlantic, trying to keep things a bit cooler and a bit drier going into Saturday as well as Sunday afternoon. But you'll notice once we get into the beginning part of next week, watch this line here kind of dive southward into the lower 48 from Canada. This is going into next Tuesday, and then next Wednesday, and then even next Thursday. You'll notice this thing really kind of dives southward and cools us down, as well as bringing those dew points down a lot. So that will definitely help to bring a change in the pattern there into the long term. So again, this is about a week to 10 days out, so we got some time to get here, of course, but there is definitely that to look at on the horizon. So looking at rain over the next 7 days, again, you'll notice nothing crazy outside of the Florida Peninsula, where we're going to be dealing with that low pressure, as well as back out here into the Great Plains, where, I should probably pick a different color so you can see this a little bit better. Yeah, that might show up a little bit better. So outside of these two places, it looks relatively nice, really. Again, afternoon scattered showers, but not a washout for anybody here in kind of this pocket of nicer weather here into the east. Now, Florida, again, that's because of that low pressure moving through it, and back out into the plains, that's because of that trough allowing all of these afternoon and evening thunderstorms to move on through and cause some of that severe weather as well. Looking at the 6 to 10 day range, again expecting cooler weather here into the East Coast and the Southwest, while that ridge flexes and brings warmer weather here into the central part of the country. And looking at kind of precipitation, again, relatively dry here over the Midwest as well as the Northeast and even much of the Mid-Atlantic. And then, of course, higher probability of above average precipitation here into this kind of region of the country. And this is all really due to this El Nino pattern that has really begun to take hold, which generally allows low pressure to trek through this part of the country and brings in a lot more rain than you might normally have during a La Nina pattern. So, again, that's really all I've got for you on this Tuesday. If there's any questions maybe I didn't answer in the video, feel free to ask me in the comments. And, yeah, again, also, if you have any suggestions for the channel, let me know, because, again, I know this is kind of a slower time of the year, so if you have anything that you think might maybe improve the channel a little bit, let me know, and I'll definitely consider it. With that said, I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I will see you all tomorrow.